one of the greatest examples recently that we have of, in my opinion, was being a terrible parent is what's happened over the last couple of days. And I don't like to get too political right now because I'm trying to avoid it. But the whole 16-year-old girl that was speaking at the UN, whatever, for the climate change. Did you see that, Angel?
I seen some shit. She was pretty pissed off.
But apparently,
I guess I should have clicked on the video. I seen the story, but I didn't click on it.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, you should probably pull it up and play it on my phone.
Yeah, she's not gonna forgive us for what's going on.
How dare you? How dare you? And I'm just like, whoa, what the heck? But the thing is, though, Michael Knowles said something, and I need to bring it up.
What, do you disagree with that little girl?
What did she say? Did she blame her parents or what?
No, she don't blame her parents. She blames I'll find it. Hold 1 second. You don't have a splitter on there, huh?
No.
But it's not cutting down.
Could you play it from your phone and on the phone at the same time?
I'm pretty sure.
Go to YouTube. So maybe Angel might be able. He won't be able to hear it though.
I don't know. Yeah, I could play it back. What are you eating, Angel?
Like, I think one of the worst things that I think you can do as a parent is import your political. I think political mainly your political beliefs on a little kid. Like I would never have my kids wear a "Make America Great Again" hat.
Who is this person again? Who are we looking at?
Greta. Just go to just put in Greta. I'm pretty sure it'll come up.
Greta UN.
This is all wrong.
Can you hear it, Angel?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
I'm sorry, I can't.
You're not supposed to be laughing. There's a child. How dare you?
With your empty words. And yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
Like Asperger's or Down syndrome. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, why would you put your daughter in that position? That's in my mind. It's kind of like child abuse, right? It's like she doesn't completely understand what she's saying or doing. Do you really believe she completely understands what she's saying or doing? Is she an expert?
Are you judging by whatever?
No, well, I mean, I don't know.
Would you trust
whatever disability that she has?
No. How about this? Is she a professional in the field that she's talking about?
No, but okay.
Is she a scientist?
No, let me put it to you like this. But if her parents told her, hey, this is express the way you feel, this is how you feel, and she's trusting her parents to do the right thing, then that's one thing. But if they're using her as a
indoctrinated her,
that's another thing. But then again, you can make the same argument with people that make their kids go to church every Sunday. You know what I mean? They're indoctrinating them. They're, it's group think.
I don't like it. But the thing is, though, I don't like it when you use children and push them to the front to promote your ideology.
Do you know?
That's what I don't. That's what I don't.
Do you know their parents?
Huh?
Do you know their parents that did it? She wasn't just like...
Yes. Have you researched it? Her parents are probably... So here's the thing about it. A picture surfaced of Greta wearing an Antifa shirt, and apparently, I mean, this is just hearsay. I haven't looked into it, but what happened was there's a picture that surfaced of her in an Antifa shirt. She said she borrowed it from her friend. It's not hers. But then her parents were seen wearing the same shirt at 2 different times, the same exact shirt. So, I mean... But this is part of my problem. They want to lead a movement, and there's an excellent piece. I mean, if you want really quick, look it up on your phone. Type in Michael Knowles and Greta, and he makes a really good point. He actually caught a lot of flack, and Fox News actually apologized for his words and promised they would never bring him back on the show, back on Fox again for some reason. But he made this very excellent point, and I'm going to let him articulate it. And I'm going to say,
is pollution a problem?
Huh?
Is pollution a problem?
Nobody said that it wasn't. I haven't met one conservative or Republican, libertarian, or anybody who said that it is a problem. Is it a problem?
It was a dramatic thing to tell people, like, hey, pollution is going to be an issue. It's going to affect us. I mean, if you look at water, right now, a lot of big people with money are buying up water sources around the world
Right.
because water is going to become fresh water become very scarce because of all the fracking and the pollution that's going into there. You're seeing now that all these, runoffs that they're now finding with new, detection methods.
Yeah.
So they're, fresh water areas with underwater wells.
Well, hold on
that are
hold
being
on
bought
to that
up.
thought. Hold on to that thought.
And being saved. So when water becomes more scarce, I mean that's just the fact. If you look at that money, the Big Short, about the recession, it says that guy that found the recession that saw it coming, his next thing was the best thing was into water, because water's going to be, the guy's looking for where money's going to be at.
Okay, Angel, hold on. Angel, hold on. Go ahead.
Let me get this ad out of the way.
Yeah, so we're gonna play this little clip and then we could respond to this.
Hold on, Avi. Okay, here's this clip.
Meatless diets are actually far worse for the environment than the regular meat-filled diets. They increase emissions, they increase energy use, they increase water use. But none of that matters because the climate hysteria movement is not about science. If it were about science, it would be led by scientists rather than by politicians and a mentally ill Swedish child who is being exploited by her parents and by the international left.
These numbers are too uncomfortable.
I can't understand that video.
Still not
You can't?
mature enough to tell
No, I
what
just sounds
it is.
like
Did you hear it?
You are failing us.
Video.
But the young people are starting to
No, I
understand
didn't hear it
your
at all.
betrayal.
I mean, I hear something, but I can't
The
understand it.
eyes of all future generations are
about now?
upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Where?
Attacking the left versus right. And by the way,
But what you saying is telling me.
relax, skinny boy. I got this. Okay, you're.
I don't know. I guess he was
Just tell me.
criticizing.
So he basically
What did he
said
say?
that if this movement is as important as it is, it's not being led by scientists. It's being led by politicians and children. And basically his response is mentally ill children, because Greta has been diagnosed apparently with she's on the autism scale.
Wow, he said that?
Well, if she's on the autism scale, is she not?
That's a fucked up thing to say. She's pretty much saying she's stupid and shit she's saying.
He didn't
What
say
she's
that.
saying
Science
was-
said that.
No, he's trying to say that in a scientific way, and they'll call politically correct. Talk about all the people being politically correct. That's a way to be politically correct, to be an asshole. So he can say that. Well, it's scientific. That's political correctness. That's it. So
So if somebody's autistic,
I thought
they're
you guys
not-
were against that. I thought you guys were against that. That's a fucked up thing to say.
but if somebody,
fucked up thing to say.
but so explain.
What's a fucked up thing to say?
Okay, well, stop
And
saying
that's
that and explain yourself.
What the little girl's trying to say is true. Like
Well,
what I
okay,
just
okay,
explained
Angels,
about the
Angels,
what-
stop. You're doing it again.
It's going to be an issue.
You're doing it
It's gonna
again.
be an issue
Okay.
that our kids are going to have to face.
Okay.
So-
Listen. Can
Well,
wait, hold on. Angel, slow down. Okay, slow down. Back up.
I am
So
slowing down.
you're moving from one thing to the next. Let's go to the thing. So you said that it's a political
No, you
correctness.
don't like what I'm saying.
So is him saying? So do you believe that somebody who is autistic is not mentally ill?
There's people that are mentally ill that are very, very smart. What are you talking about?
That's not what I asked.
Ted Bundy was mentally ill, obviously, right? But he was fucking very
But he was a
smart.
murderer, so that just
Exactly, but you're saying that because someone's mentally ill, they're not smart. I'm just disproving you
did I
wrong
say
right
that? I'm just no, Angel. You're
There's people
you're the
that
one
are
jumping
with
to
Down
that.
syndrome. I think there's people with Down syndrome that are actors and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
They
savants.
do
and-
shows and stuff like that. So it's like these people are obviously intelligent. You can't say that's a fucked up thing to say. If she's correct on something, he has no other thing to go to. Pretty much say she's stupid
Okay, then
in a
what did
politically
she- what
correct
did
way.
she s-
That's a fucked up thing to do.
So
Well, okay, but
ultimately,
what
though,
answers did she give?
but-
She was just making an emotional plea. That's the problem. That's what he's saying. Everybody's making emotional pleas and no solutions, no answers.
But is it true what they're trying to say? And it's to be an issue they're going to have to face. Is that not true? That's what.
How-
it's not
But
true.
let's get back to the whole reason why we brought this up. This had to do something with
No,
parenting.
no, hold on. Can we answer that question? Because that was the whole thing about it, though. It might have been a little dramatic or whatever, but is it true? Because it is true. Our kids going to have to deal. If we don't change certain things, a lot of things, or our kids going to have to deal with certain things, not have certain things, certain animals. You know what I'm saying? Certain waterways not going to be clean.
Well, there are
anymore,
animals that just go
uninhabitable. We're already
naturally
dealing with
instinct
that.
all
They're
the
already-
time.
But what we're
90-some
doing is-
percent of animals that have ever existed are extinct.
But now it's starting to happen because of what we can do to change it.
That's true. But what I'm getting out of this is she's
right.
She shouldn't have been there in the first place.
You didn't answer my question yet. Is what they're trying to get across? Is it true? Is it true that our kids and our grandkids are going to have to deal with what we're doing if we don't change it?
No,
the science is out on that yet. That's why why do you think there isn't scientists?
No, it is out.
Why do you think there isn't scientists out?
It is out. It is out.
But why do I get the feeling that are they trying to blame Americans now for that, or like that's the feeling I'm getting at it.
No one's answered my question yet.
I will say.
Is it a fact?
I did answer your question.
If we don't, now these waterways are being affected through, during the regulations that are being taken off, and these continue to happen, is it going to be negatively affecting our kids?
No, that's true. But
you're inserting Trump in there now because
that's true. But it's not only just us; it's world governments. We
could do what we can, but if India doesn't participate, the biggest polluters in this world are India and China.
Yeah.
It's not the United States. They're the cause.
Okay, well, let it be the world example again.
Okay, well then let's all just stop buying shit from China. Then, are you willing to do that?
Stop going to Walmart.
Then let's all just stop buying shit from China. We're fueling the beast. We like what we're getting out of it, but we're hating how we're getting it.
Almost everything in my house is from Goodwill, so I bought it from Goodwill.
I like that. Okay, never mind.
And I did buy some American-made products today too. An expensive one, a new iron skillet.
Yeah, nice.
And you know what also is to go back to the whole thing about the parenting, but it does frustrate me, like those cute little videos that people put on Facebook of like you see little kids on stage at a church and they're preaching or testifying. It's like that is also on the same vein as this. Yeah. So it's across the board. It's not
but what they're saying is not true though. But what they're saying is not true.
Well, I don't believe what Greta is completely saying is true either, though. I believe that there's a lot of
the key word that we're all saying that the key word to what we're saying is belief. If we get the word belief out of there, then we can move on.
Well, no, it's using kids to promote an ideology, and I really think that you have to articulate yourself in a mature and adult-like fashion in order to push an ideology. And whenever you throw children into that mix, what you're basically saying is if you question or critique or criticize a child, you're then lambasted for it because that's a child. How dare you attack a child? That's like, no, it's your fault for putting that child in that position in the first place.
He criticized the child for what she was born for, saying she has no way, she can't have a platform.
What?
That's basically what he was saying.
That she don't have a right to her opinion? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the platform in that matter.
But there's other ways to go about getting your voice heard without being what would you call her at this situation? They used her as a puppet. You know, they used her as just like a poster child. Like,
why not a scientist come up and say the same thing she said? Yeah. Why not? Why a child?
Because they have.
Who?
Plenty of times.
Name me a prominent scientist that has come up besides Bill Nye. Bill Nye is not a climate scientist.
Rudy, Google it. You'll Google it, and there's been many speeches from there.
But then
from people that have been affected by the water crisis that I've said too. There's, I believe, people from America too. You know, it's not just all these other. So you can Google them right now.
Yeah, but the scientists you got to remember, 25 years ago, the scientists were saying that the ice caps on all these high elite mountains would be gone. We're now in 2019 and they're still there.
But they're shrinking.
No, they only show the ice caps that melt every year. How come they're not showing the poles melting?
But that's
the problem. They select their data to make it seem worse than it actually is.
The ice caps they show that are melting, those melt like that every year since
you get people,
we've been recording.
You get people that say that the world's going to end in 10 years. I mean, and that's not hyperbole. They're literally serious about that. That the world is going to end in 12 years.
No, but my point is, look, Angel, check this out. My point is, like,
stop picking your data. That's what they say.
No, but hold on.
That's what Greta believes.
Look, my thing is,
my data. I'm saying that is a possibility. That it might be a possibility, right? But you could for sure prove that the pollution, and that's what I didn't say nothing about, severe climate change where we're going to die and we're going to. It's going to be like, day after tomorrow. I never said anything. I've been focusing just on the pollution aspect because that is what's provable, and 99.9% provable because that's just 100%. But that's more provable.
No, that's true. But you know what? But
because we see evidence. So
no,
that's
Well, that's
a straw man because I never said that. I never said anything about climate change. I talked about pollution.
That's true. The whole pollution thing, fine. But then I don't see you trading in your car for an electric vehicle or taking the bus or, fighting pollution. You see, it's easy to say, but it's hard to do because we all depend on things that pollute this environment. Look at Chevron. Chevron got sued in 2012, I think it was, for polluting the Amazon rainforest and spewing millions of tons of pollutants into the river. But yet we're all still buying gas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we supposed to do? We're taking progressive steps to end pollution.
Yeah, we have gas, but we have certain things in newer cars, saying that don't put out as much emissions.
Right.
You have companies that get pollution. Hold on, you got companies that pollute and want to pollute more,
right,
and go over here and lobby for it to go down,
or find ways around, to pollute more.
Car, right?
Yeah.
But again, I'm talking about the pollutions where they're actually putting stuff directly into the water.
Yeah. And there's companies that can buy. Have you heard of those? What are they? Pollution credits or whatever that companies can buy from other companies.
Sometimes these small corporations pollute more than cities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. But
so
that's why we all got to. If that's the case and we feel that strong about it, then we all should just stop buying from the companies and let it go away. It really is that simple.
Yeah.
It is that simple because companies can buy pollution credits from other companies that haven't used all theirs yet. You know what I mean? To find ways around. I spend a lot of money
on food, so I'm down with that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I gotta eat, bro. But no, I hear you. But I'm not only speaking to you, but other people that are listening are also gonna take things a certain way. I just want to make sure that people understand that. Okay, fine. What she's saying is valid, and okay, I get it and everything. And he shouldn't have said that the way he did. But if we all feel this strongly about it, how come we're not making more strive to end pollution, i.e., not buying stuff from certain countries that we know are
because these companies and countries are polluting more.
Yeah, but
again,
we're feeding the beast by buying and by buying from these countries where we're actually fueling the fire with gas, I should say. So it's like if we felt that deep about it, let's just stop buying from these companies or countries, and then that, you know what I mean? That'd be one big step.
I think so. I think we buy too much. I think in this country we buy too much wasteless shit. Yeah. I'm a big secondhand person. Most of I'm very proud people in my house say, "Oh, your house looks good." I'm like, man, I bought everything here on secondhand. The only thing I'll buy secondhand is my drawers and my socks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything, and my Levi's too. I buy never Levi's, but everything else.
I can't afford $50 pants.
Secondhand. Well, hold on. Besides my mattress and stuff like that, like my plants inside, all the pictures, even my TV. I got lucky, got this brand new Vizio TV at a Goodwill.
Nice.
52 ones, a 3D one. So I'm a big bargain shopper, man. So yeah, I would agree. I think Americans do buy a lot of wasted shit.
Yeah, but not only Americans. I mean, there's other people from different countries that overindulge and we're gluttonous.
So
and all
just to get back,
that
to the
guy's
point.
an asshole. That guy's an asshole, really, for saying that shit. He's a fucking asshole. He's a bitch for that shit, saying some shit like that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't have pointed out the obvious that he did, but
why say it though? Why have to say the obvious?
Well, that's for the same reason,
because it's obvious.
But for the same reason why the parents make their kids do that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people at fault in that.
It's like some lady's talking to you, right? She's saying something that's right, and she might be ugly and be like, by the way,
why she gotta be ugly? Smart girls are dumb now.
Shut the fuck up.
So you believe in?
It's like saying some shit like that, just to try, but it's like.
But the thing is, though, Angel, what you have to realize, what I don't think you're realizing, is that climate scientists have been doom and gloom for 30 to 40 years. When Al Gore released all of his documentaries back in the early 2000s, he was saying by 10 to 12 years, the same kind of terminology, that all the polar ice caps and all the mountains would be. I mean, he wasn't saying this in speculations. He was saying, this is what the science says, this is what the science says, this is what the science says.
Oh, fuck Al Gore. He was wrong.
But the people are saying the same things. Now, and our emissions have gone
He
down
wasn't wrong
significantly, even with Trump in office.
He
And
wasn't
you're
wrong
still
about everything.
saying
The
that
pollution
you're defending. Well, this
aspect,
girl is saying something right. This girl is saying something right. Well, how do we know she's saying something right? Because we've heard the same stuff before, and it turned out to be wrong. It's not hyperbole.
So you're saying our kids are not going to have to deal with the effects that we're, all this.
Well, you have to
stuff
be
that we're doing?
Specific. What are you talking about?
Stuff that we allowed, I mean, we're having our kids in, like, nowadays we're stuck with it, right? With how big we are and stuff like that. But like nuclear power,
Okay. Nuclear power. What about it?
Well, they're gonna have to deal with the waste for how many hundreds of thousands of years? You know what I'm saying? When we had solar energy resources back in the 70s. President
Solar
Carter
power is insufficient.
Solar power.
Wind power is insufficient.
Then maybe we just need to use less energy, Rudy. It's about a change
So
for
you're
the betterment of our children. I am willing, yes, to watch less TV. I'm not saying to be mandatory, but it would have to be something
to drive
culturally,
less, to drive less,
culturally changed.
to give up your car, to go back and live like they did 100 and some years ago. No AC, no electricity, no running water. And that's what you're talking about then, right? You would rather go back to those days.
Well, like coaching carrot.
Horse and carriage.
Horse and buggy. I mean, that's basically it. For most people that think like that, it's either all or nothing.
It could get to a point. Where it could be charged gravitation and be such in a way where we could just walk out of our door and there can be charged right there.
There can be
an underground subway through the whole city.
But what's going to power the subway? What's going to power the subway? Angel.
Solar power and wind power.
It's insufficient. It doesn't generate enough power.
Are you sure about that? I don't think so, Rudy.
Okay, maybe in like 10 years, 5 years, yeah. But...
Okay, Rudy, do you agree with that? Maybe in 10, 15, 20 years, if we start right now, right, maybe 15, 20 years, 30 years, the technology will be way better. Where it'll be nothing, right?
Is already, okay, let's take, for instance, the electric power car. Okay, hold on. Wait. Let's stop right there.
Answer my question. No, answer my question directly, because I told you I would not try.
Okay. What was your question? What was your question? Because I was answering it. I was answering.
If right now, right, we started with solar power, everything, wind power, everything. Don't you think in 20, 30 years, would be at a place where it would be a lot better? Like where before, there's a picture of like somebody with like a head stereo and a GPS device, all. But then now.
Okay, so the answer is yes. That if we started now, we would be there. But the problem is we're not even there now. So your question is kind of rhetorical, because you can't really answer that question because it's a hypothetical. If we did start now, then yes. The problem is, for instance, with electric vehicles, right? So right now, an electric vehicle could only go so far, and they cost so much money, right? So they're not accessible for people that don't have the disposable income for it.
Well, Nissan's changing that. They're actually coming out with the car next year.
They actually do have one now, the Nissan Leaf, but it's not as reliable.
No, they got a new one that's going to come out.
Volkswagen's coming out with the series of them, but still, their base model is like 50 or 60,000.
Well, you know what's the trip is, let's not forget, the very first cars invented were electric cars. Before
but the reason why they went away from it is because they weren't
No,
sufficient.
actually, they actually had lipo and lithium polymer ion. They were
faster.
The battery technology.
Well, Teslas are fast.
Yeah, because it's direct power, man.
Yeah.
But the means were there. It's just the money wasn't in petrol because everybody was invested.
The amount that it takes to produce it. And that's the problem. The cost to produce it is so high, it would make it nearly useless. That's the problem we're having now. As time goes on, and the free market capitalism will find a way to make it cheaper, because it's just inevitable. Because if somebody could figure out how to make it cheaper, they're going to be on top. That's the problem. It's not that people are opposed to it. It's just that it's not cheap enough for the mass public. But as soon as it will, and that's why I don't get what people say. Oh, well, nobody's opposed to it. It's just not feasible yet. But I believe it will do. But what you're saying is everybody has to stop enjoying life the way we enjoy it now. If you really care about your future, care about your kids, You need to stop using electricity, stop driving cars. I mean, it was like, wait. That is an extreme. Go ahead.
Can I ask you another question?
Go ahead.
You don't think the fossil industry has a very high influence in policy making?
Yes,
and
they do.
Been?
Yes, of course.
Yes, they do. So don't you think it could be?
In one day, it's trillions of dollars
and
it
has been for a long time, very, very since early.
Yes, there has, because this guy invented a battery that right now would rival anything out there right now. It could power houses, it could power cars.
Yeah.
Like on one charge, it lasts 30 years. Well, I forgot what company it was that bought his patent and said, "Hey, we'll buy this technology off of you with the promise of mass marketing it." Oh, hell yeah! So the guy sold it, and then they hid it. And it wasn't until Eli Musk, or whatever his name is, Elon Musk, that came up with the Tesla, electric cars. That because people were modifying their gas engines to EV cars a long time ago. It just got cheaper as soon as Tesla came out.
In the 70s, Volkswagen actually had some models, some Volkswagen buses and bugs that were electric.
Dude, they even had Honda even had a car that ran on well, not only Honda, but Honda was one of the main ones that had one that worked on propane. It was cheaper.
Yeah.
I need to game Rudy up.
What do you mean?
So you mentioned two things that are very important. Or I think Jose said agreed. Maybe so. Maybe one you and one Jose. I think Jose agreed that the fossil industry has been highly influenced into policy making.
Oh yeah,
and he gave a great
just
example.
Like the pharmaceutical and medicine.
Well, let me say something to that too, though, because this government has made a lot of things illegal, and one of the things that it's made illegal, for instance, and this is why I don't like. This is why for a long time I've been a libertarian, because I was so anti-big government, because I couldn't put a wind generator on my property if I was here in California because of regulation. Because if I could, I would. But we can't for the most part because of government, and that's for the large part Democrat policies for the most part.
Oh God, can I finish? Go ahead. Okay, I'm finished. No, just playing. So petrol has been a big influence. So it's been for over 100 years. It's been proven that electricity can be used as can be used to power, right?
Yeah.
It might have been a little more expensive, whatever, maybe you would have never said, but there's a whole different factors to that too. That the fossil industry has involved in. A lot of parts that were being made that they were using, they were, lobbying that and pressuring other people to make the cost of things up. That's why it's so much more expensive. It's not because to do it, it's because the parts are, because they get pressured to up the price. So that's a whole different conversation though. But anyways, so it might be a little more expensive, and that was argument back then, same argument now or whatever. But the reason why, that's not the real reason why it's because it's expensive. It's because the fossil industry had a lot of influence. But again, I go back, Rudy agreed to something too, and he said that, if you gave it 20, 30 years, then it'd be a lot better, it'd be a lot cheaper. Again, when I went back, the Carter administration was the one who was pushing clean energy, wind energy. They put solar panels on top of the White House. What did a Republican, conservative, ultra-capitalist Ronald Reagan do? Take them off. Right, because it was offensive to his petro friends and contributors. So that's what I'm saying is like it's going to take time to get it to a place. But we've had 100-year delay because of policymakers that were being bought off by the fossil fuel industries. And the same thing that's happening now. It's costing a lot of money to change these oils that are in Canada into oil that we can use, and not even all of it can be used for gasoline. Because it takes a certain kind. Because oil is also used in a lot of things, in plastics, in tires, car parts,
clothes.
Styrofoam.
It's used in a lot of shit.
Your anal lube.
So that's another thing people don't understand. That's why the fossil industry is so big, because it goes into not just people just thinking about cars and stuff, but so it's like, because a lot of these parts.
Angel, what's your point?
Hold on. And a lot of these.
Get to a point.
I got to my point.
Okay, then stop talking.
Saying, no, hold on. But a lot of these parts, because you say, well, it's so expensive. You say it's so expensive. A lot of these parts are made from fossil fuel, like plastics and stuff like that. So they up the price. They up the prices on the people that are making those parts when it's going to those places. So it's a problem that was made, basically. It's too expensive is the problem that argument is being made by the fossil fuel industry.
Uh-huh.
So you say it can't be made because how expensive it is, or
I didn't say it can't be made. That's not what I said.
No, the changes can't be made. The changes
I
can't
didn't
be made.
say changes can't be made. What I said was that at this current moment that it's not economically feasible for the masses. As time goes on, just like with the model, just like with cars were seen as only for the rich elite. And then as time went on, there was Ford and the Model T. Then there was Volkswagen and the Beetle.
The process to clean energy has been halted for over 100 years by the fossil fuel industry, and that's a fact. Jose, is that a fact? Clean energy has been halted by the fossil fuel industry for over 100 years now. Is it a fact?
It is a fact, and just to make note that in one day, if the fossil fuel industry stopped producing, they'd lose trillions of dollars in one day. A day.
Yeah.
So the influence is high, and it's also the same as this. This is the same argument that I make with medicines and and all that. It's why give a cure when I could just keep you on pills and you just pay me?
Yeah. There's a conspiracy to that.
And that's why
I believe it.
That's why
I don't know why he thinks I'm not. I don't.
Even now they want to have. Even now they're pushing to get prescriptions for vitamins. It's like what
yeah, and I'm not saying I don't agree with you. Yes, I do believe I'm a semi-conspiracy theorist over here. Like, I still have questions even about 9/11.
No,
I don't officially believe the original statement. So I'm not saying that there isn't corrupt people in power.
It's not conspiracy. It's fact. It's fact. Conspiracy that was proven fact. It's been proven fact.
Right.
Well, when I mean conspiracy, I mean conspiracy in the literal sense, not because. When I'm not saying it's a theory. Yes, it is a fact, but it's still a conspiracy. There are people conspiring with other people for certain reasons, and I believe that. Whether it's a theory or not, I still believe that there are underpinnings to all these different types of things. What I'm saying, though, there's a pattern. You follow the pattern. The pattern is this. Tesla broke the mold. Okay, when it came out with its vehicles, and now I see them more on the road than ever before. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But what I'm saying, though, most people can't go afford a small four-door little car that costs $70,000 when you could go to the dealership and get a Toyota Corolla for like $20,000. That's what I'm saying.
That's why it's going to be generational. It's going to be and I keep saying that.
It's already started. This thing that you're saying, well, if it starts now, will it change the future? Yes, it will. In fact, it started probably 10 to 15 years ago with things like Tesla and the moving of more environmentally favored things like, you hear all the time. It's like they have windows that will help you with your energy sufficiency. There are things that have been done for a long time, but to go out there and have this doom and gloom mentality, you're worse than some of those preachers from 40, 50 years ago that would go and stand on a corner and saying the end is coming, the end is coming. It's the same thing. It's a religion to itself. This whole global climate thing. No, it's not, because they say the same things like religious radicals. They say the same thing.
That speech. You're mischaracterizing that speech.
What did
basically saying we're going to deal with it. If you don't make changes, we're going to have to deal with the consequences.
Did you listen to this? Wait, did you listen to her speech?
Well, you just played part of it, and that's basically what I was getting from it. Plus, I read an article today about it. While
she said, "How dare you?"
Yeah, how dare you? Like, how do you do these things?
Yeah, she was talking about.
It's true.
No, what she was saying was that if nothing is done, because she's saying she can't do it. And look at this. I don't know if you've listened to some. I've listened to a lot of these speeches over this last week of all these protests and all these rallies. They are basically saying the same thing. They're Generation Z because they're the last generations if the politicians don't do something now. They're all saying that. That's the message. That doesn't sound like religious fundamentalists to you?
It's because it's partly true. Might be a little bit dramatic.
So now it's partly true. I don't.
Because now it's pollution.
Partly true.
The world is not going to end tomorrow. The world's not going to end in 10 years, like they were saying.
That's what they're. But that's what I mean. That's what they're saying when they talk.
The examples that they're giving, they're giving is not going to be beneficial for them. There's going to be more higher rates of cancer, more higher rate of lung disease, which they're already facing in the places that are having these industries pop up. So, it's basically telling us, too, like I was saying, well, we need it's going to be a cultural, generational change that's going to take time. But it's basically saying to us, you need to change faster for us, and really we need to. But It's a hard thing because human beings are very selfish.
So you don't
even
believe,
if
we don't see
the
it,
change needs to be
we
made.
we don't see the best scene until hindsight. We have the best sight in hindsight, and that's just a terrible thing.
Yeah,
and she's basically trying to plead with us. Look before it gets to your hindsight.
So
look now.
So it justifies their rhetoric. So that justifies their rhetoric to scare people and to indoctrinate people to think this way because it meets their end. It's a means to their end.
They're really afraid because they really see places that are being destroyed by pollution.
But if they're that afraid, how come they're not the ones making the sacrifice and you know being the
And how come they're not going to the places that are actually doing the worst pollution? Have you seen the rivers in India?
She's only 16. Rudy, give her some fucking time.
Well, what about the other people that are?
Why didn't she? This is what I mean. Nobody talks about specifics. If she really was that worried about it as a 16-year-old, well, that's
She just started. She just might be starting. You watch out.
Well, then she shouldn't have been on that stage. Then she shouldn't have been there.
She shouldn't have. Okay.
She shouldn't have been there.
Rudy. Okay, Rudy, that's what you think.
I don't want to hear from a 16-year-old whiny little girl. I want to hear from somebody who's actually can look at the problem, can elaborate on the problem, can identify the problem, and then talk about solutions. Everything that I've heard in the last few years with all these climate things have never delivered a solution, just doom and gloom. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did the same thing. Okay, I don't know if you've read the Green New Deal and the things that that is ridiculous.
Again, it's an generational. I keep saying that. I don't agree with what I agree what I understand what she's trying to do, but I don't agree with how she's trying to implement it. It's going to be generational.
What does that mean? It's going to be generational.
It's kind of teaching people, like instead of using regular bulbs, use bulbs that like LED bulbs. That are a little more energy efficient. Learning from mistakes, trying to get more using less energy. Having a less footprint, like using plastic bags. Now you bring your own bag.
Well, I'll say this. That is a good place to start. But the reality is, for instance, when you look at the carbon footprint that a Tesla leaves behind, and that's what I think that a lot of people don't understand is, like, for instance, a Tesla leaves probably 3 or 4 times bigger a carbon footprint than a gas-powered vehicle. You understand that, right?
Like, okay, how?
Because mining the lithium for the batteries, and then all of the charging stations for these cars, in order to get enough power to charge the vehicles, they're charged by diesel generators.
Where are they charged by diesel generators?
Here, let me pull it. Since I'm not going to tell you to Google it, I'll pull it up for you so you can.
No, because I just had 13 car chargers installed into my unit, and I did a whole report to my board an association on the power consumption of these, and people have Teslas. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm talking about charging stations, not like at a house, because you can just plug right into your house.
Why would they have a diesel station? That might be one station, maybe far somewhere, but no, a lot of them are solar. A lot of them are hooked up to a power source because it doesn't take a lot of power. It's not a lot. It's what you would think. So, yeah, I don't know what the fuck. Whoever wrote that's bullshit.
All right.
That's bullshit. Bullshit. And plus, I'm an electrician, really. Diesel engines are only used for like places where like emergency backup to battery systems and stuff like that. Like I used to build systems that were DC systems where in between the AC power goes out, the DC power turns on because it's automatic power, and you have inverter systems that turn into AC, and then once the DC power gets up because it takes a while for the DC power for the diesel motor to kick on and then start up and then getting power back up. The DC power batteries back that up. So, yeah, that's I don't want to. That's misinformation on that one. They might have found one charger. Some idiot ran it by, because power was out or something. But yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it could be. But from all the things that I've seen,
like right now, like they have hot rods, right? Used to be a lot of gasoline, a lot of gas being used. Now they're having hot rod clubs that are just, electric cars, And you might say, well, yeah, some of these plants are being ran by steam or by nuclear power. But again, that's starting building plants that are run by solar power, and then over years seeing what works and what's going to be a learning process and growing pains. But I think the next generations are going to be more built for that ready for that because they can see what's happening. Us, we didn't see what was going to happen, and we just experienced the best of it, and it's hard to detach from that. But our kids are going to see that, are seeing that already. So
I don't know if it's that we didn't see it. It's just that we didn't want to accept it because we got used to the luxury and pampering of it all. Because this is not pseudoscience. I mean, what you're saying, people have been talking about for a long time, and there's been ways to change it. Now, I'm sure incandescent light bulbs probably do use a lot more wattage. I don't know about energy consumption, but the wattage is higher than an LED. But then again, how much more energy does it take to make that LED? Does it negate? Is it really no difference? You just feel better that you just bought an LED light bulb that lasts 10 years, but it's still going to take up, in the manufacture of it and the components of it. Because what's a light bulb? A condensate filament and some glass and a little bit of copper. Like, damn, really? That's going to be so hard, But then look at what it takes to make an LED. We're talking about the fuel industry. Look at all that plastic in there. You know what I mean? You got the housings plastic, the lenses plastic, the bulbs plastic. So sure, it's more energy efficient now. But
we need to recycle more and reuse that plastic.
Yeah, but why couldn't we do that with silica? Because you can't recycle 100% of the plastic. In the process of recycling it, you're losing some of it too.
Yeah.
But like what?
Making some things that are.
But glass is 100% recyclable.
Yeah.
So.
And that's going to be generational. Every generation recycles more. It's just provenly true. So again, it's generated. It's a thing that's not going to be fixed overnight or in one generation. It's going to take decades and decades. We're still going to be talking about this if I'm 80 years old. Whether it be,
Shit, I hope I make it till I'm 80. So.
Yeah, but it's just, but I think part of like what Rudy's saying is kind of like cognitive dissonance in a sense. What I'm saying, we're so used in the sense of, everything we have is from oil companies that we're kind of like make excuses on why we can't do this, why we can't do that. But
that's your favorite term.
We need a change.
I've noticed that's your favorite term. That's your excuse for anything anybody disagrees with you. But yet, how do you know you don't have cognitive dissonance at all in anything that you believe or say?
I probably do with some things, but that's why I truly examine stuff, and I've changed to beliefs on things. So it's like,
well, I'm glad you were able to change your belief today because you went from one thing to the other today. So I appreciate that.
What?
Well, first of all, you said what these activists are saying is true, and then you're like, well, it's partly true.
Well, the pollution part I'm talking about, and I've said that plenty of times. Haven't I said that many times today?
Yeah, actually,
I kept saying
I counted like 27 times, I think it was.
Fucking hell of times I said that shit. And I was referring to some. That's what I'm saying. Some was the pollution part, because climate has changed. They've proven that with science, it's been changed over time. Some of it has been naturally.
Could we just get a consensus here and just say that yes, pollution is bad, and we do need to care about our environment?
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
There's no one easy step solution to this, and that's going to take time. But that our world is not going to end if we're not taking drastic, immediate action right now. And that 16-year-old girls should not be sitting on a stage lecturing adults of something that she knows very little about.
I could understand if she. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this: Do you think the world would end if every nuclear bomb would go off in the world right now? Like the world would be over, be done.
It'd be over, but it would recover, so it wouldn't truly be the end.
No matter what happens, so the world would always be here.
Right.
So again, the world
until
would
Jesus
end.
comes back.
Life would probably
life
end,
for us, and creatures like us, right, will end. But in 100,000, 200, and million years, or not even that, in like 1,000 years, the world will be totally different. The world will still be here, basically. We just won't. So that's what. So, Rudy, what are you saying? Like, they're pretty much saying that the whole world's an end.
Yes.
There'll be no more world.
Yes.
Like no more world. Like that. You really think that they're saying that?
Angel, have you listened?
When they say that the whole world, they basically mean us.
Then why didn't they say that?
Our species,
But that's not what they're saying.
They're speaking in generals. That way, it's fear mongering. It's like, oh my God, the world's gonna end. Oh, and then people that are less educated than ourselves are gonna be like, oh my God, the world's gonna end. And then it's all over Facebook. And then everybody's like,
16-year-old kids believing literally.
And then it's in the textbooks
because
at school.
Everybody is so easily triggered. Everybody's so easily triggered when they think they think that they're thinking that they're saying that the world's gonna end. But it's really
AOC came out with legislation based on the fact that the world is going to end in 12 years.
Human beings will end. That's
well,
what
they use that same argument with guns. They vilify one gun and to scare.
So they should be a little more things. I don't like the fact they say that two worlds in the end, but I understand what they're saying. Because they don't say the world's going to crack in half. And
so don't listen to what they're saying.
Read between the lines.
Huh?
Should we just read between the lines and be like, oh?
So don't actually listen to what they're saying. You're supposed to assume what they're saying. Don't listen to what I say.
Talking about what we're doing is going to end the world that we can live in. That we're not going to be able to live in the world of all this pollution because we're going to end up killing ourselves off if we keep doing it the way we're doing it over a long period of time, which is true. That's why they passed a lot of regulations to stop things because we've seen stuff. But still, there's people being affected by it still. And they're just bringing awareness to that.
Yeah, which is a good thing. I mean, people should be aware of that. But you could still do the right thing the wrong way and still make it wrong. You could still do the right thing the wrong way.
Oh, Rudy.
So we're gonna go on we're thinking of going on what do we call it a political fasting.
Oh, we're gonna go on a political fast.
Are you fed up with everything that's going? I know I am. I'm tired of hearing all this.
You just got back on. What are you talking about?
You know, this whole political stuff. Like, I'm just sick and tired of it. Like, how do you feel about it? Are you like? Is it on? Is it not?
It's always around. I mean. Well, politics is always going to be around. It just matters how much.
Well, we don't have to engage in it, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm tired of engaging in it. I think I want to steer in a different direction for a little while, just to give myself a break, you know? Because, like, damn.
It's a trip. Being on Facebook for like, at last post, I think it was like in beginning of May. So May, June, July, August.
Oh, that's right. You did take a little break there. How was it better? Not being on it, or did you miss it, or how'd that work out for you?
It was better. I'm about to delete my Facebook again.
I know what. If it was up to me, I would, but I like to keep it up for my Playbe production stuff. But I think I will eventually delete my personal Facebook and then just roll it over to like a dummy account, just like a kind of keep the Playbe production one going. But yeah, we're not. Cause I'm not on it all the time either, and it's like when I do get on it, I get a headache. Like, God dang, this is a bunch of stupid shit on here. Like, ignorance.
Well,
ignorance.
This is one thing I tripped out. It was like, okay, I just heard a podcast about not being on social media, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try this out and just do it, right? I didn't put no post. I was going off of Facebook and talking shit about Facebook and being woke about Facebook or whatever bullshit. Just did it, right? Just fucking deleted it. Just deleted that. I didn't even turn off my page. That's what people thought I was still on there.
Oh, you just took the app off?
I took the app off my phone. I took the Facebook app. I had Messenger still on there because I was, but it's just because, I talked to Rudy over this and you guys still getting hold of me.
Right.
But I wasn't on Facebook, as far as, looking, scrolling and shit like that, posting anything, looking at I turned my notifications off, even for messages. That's why I wouldn't respond for a while because I was only checking my message once every 3-4 days or whatever, right? And if it was just some bullshit or someone sent me, I wouldn't even open it, just.
Right.
But I was just like, it was my cousin Sonny came out, and I was like, well, it'd be a good reason to, post some shit, good,
Yeah, visit
so
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so I downloaded the app again on Saturday while we were eating sushi, right? And I just posted, I think one of my first posts was me eating sushi, I think.
And that shit look hella
and
good.
Shit like that. Yeah, but I noticed, I'm kind of going back to the same routine. Was I wake up, first thing I would do would, no matter what, okay, getting on your phone first thing in the morning or while you're taking a shit in the morning is not a bad thing in a sense because in a way because now it's something that's a part of our life, right? Before we would probably read the newspaper,
right,
or someone were taking a shit. Now we use our phone, but it's about what you're looking at. So now I put on, maybe a debate, or intellectual talk about a certain, I've been trying to get away from more debates and listen to more lectures, so where there's not really any confrontation and stuff like that. But I noticed kind of going on there, you look at a video, and then you start seeing these other videos, and your emotions start getting stirred again, and it's like, I don't like this feeling. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, that's great, but shut up. Hey, I want to show you something. So I'm gonna play this for you, and I want you to listen.
So I would do it.
When George Soros puppeteered students across the country to skip class and march out in the streets in order to save the world from the weather.
Our world is already in flames. It's getting hotter. We can't breathe.
We are here because our parents trashed the planet, and it's up to our generation to save it.
Call us Generation Z, the last letter of the alphabet, because we are going to be the last generation to survive.
We do not have time to be polite. This is a revolution.
It doesn't matter how much we're taxed if we don't have an earth to live on.
We need to do more instead of having a corrupt president who won't acknowledge that the earth is literally dying.
We need to listen to our children because they totally get it.
Because every day of inaction drives more action from us!
If these are the future leaders of America...
Okay, now do you understand what I'm saying?
What? Understand what?
That's what happens. That's what they're saying. They're saying that the world is dying. Our parents,
Mother Earth, which is the environment.
What did you hear in that? Am I hearing? Are me and him hearing two different things?
When they're saying the world's gonna end, I'm thinking about Mother Earth. You ever go to fucking Earth Day, Rudy? You're talking about that bitch. Jesus, that's what they're talking. Metaphorical, okay?
Just tell me if I'm wrong.
But if you really ask them, the world's gonna blow up? No, the world's not gonna blow up. We have no oxygen. They say shit like that.
She literally said that they can't breathe.
Mother Earth.
The world's on fire.
The world's on fire, like literally. Like that's like Revelation type stuff.
She did say Revelation.
Or the Revolution.
Revolution.
And the last time I remember, in a revolution, people are literally dying.
Yeah, legit.
There's people fighting and dying. So
well, there is places that are getting hotter and hotter, but again, that could just be natural.
It is.
I know, but that's not my point.
Partly.
But at the same time, the world is cooling too. Have you seen?
But you can't enhance it. And it is proven that it's being enhanced by by all the chemicals. I mean, all the.
I'm not saying that it's not partly man-made. Partly it is man-made, partly natural. Yes, we could help. But at the same time, when you're using these, I don't believe this is hyperbolic language. I don't think they're using hyperbolic language. I think they literally are believing. They literally believe that the world is literally dying. Do you want to hear it again? Would you like to hear their words again?
They're talking about Mother Earth, you fucking idiot. I can't believe you don't understand that.
Okay, the world is dying. We're on
fire. You're so politically blinded and just like you can't see that. And
I agree. I agree with the message. Yes, partly of the climate is changing. I believe that. Partly is due to human processes. I believe that. But to go out there and to say these things that are not blatantly true, that is not true that the world is going to end in 10 days. It is not true that the earth is literally on fire. It is not true that this is the last generation because of prior generations. That's what they are saying.
They're being dramatic. Yeah, they're being dramatic.
Every single one of them are saying the same thing.
But the statistics they would say would be true, though.
Had they said
so you're saying so they say it's statistics and then they can say whatever they want on top of that statistic? How is that?
You just played them at whatever hype at the point, whatever conversation they were in. So they probably just
they were speaking in front of a crowd of people on a microphone. They were speaking.
Okay, again, they were filming it too, right? So they could. I didn't hear the whole thing, really.
No, it was the news. This is what I mean. The media is propping these kids up. Angel, the media is propping these kids up. Those things were broadcasted on C-SPAN and CNN. I want to listen to it again.
Again, heavily edited because CNN has the angle too, Rudy. CNN has a fucking angle too. They're trying to get across too.
We are here because our parents, and it's up to us. That's what she said. What? They are Generation Z, the last generation.
Aren't there coastlines of just garbage, miles and miles of garbage, Rudy?
Where?
All around the world and all around there's videos.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, though. If they're really concerned about this, they're just basically saying that this is Trump's fault. for pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord. Okay.
Yeah, that's CNN doing that. I don't think that's the kids doing that. I think that's CNN doing that.
Well, these are.
I'm a little unhappy with this impeachment process they're trying to do. I don't like it. For CNN, for CNN, it's something else. It's just something for them to talk about. That's just it for them. So I'm not a big fan of CNN.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that I do believe I'm not a climate change denier. I do believe there is change. I do not believe the world is going to end in 10 years like all of these, like this 16-year-old girl who was manipulated and probably abused by being.
Did she say the world's going to end in 10 years?
Would you like to hear it again?
Did she say the world's going to end in 10 years?
We'll go back to it.
Or it's going to be certain changes that it's going to be take more work to get it back to where it was than to where it is now.
I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction. How is that not fundamentalism?
No, there has been a lot of animals that have went extinct because of pollution. So, I mean, that is true. That's true. Mass dying off of creatures and this and that. So yeah, I mean that's true.
But that's also happened naturally too. I mean,
it happened naturally, but it's happened prudently to happen through all these pollutions that have been going on.
I believe it's like 95% of every living creature that ever walked in this earth is now extinct. And that's prior to the modern age.
We're talking within the industrial industry time. I'm not talking to the whole. Of course, Rudy, because the industrial industry hasn't been.
We never got up to see the dodo.
The phosphate industry.
I would want to see a dodo. I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Not even 0.1%. So that's a stupid thing to argue.
What kind of majesty is there to never see a dodo? I mean,
so I mean, there are extinctions that are happening because of industries not caring about the environment. So yeah, there are people that.
So I guess people like that should be more careful with their words when say, instead of mass extinction, here are some.
That's all you want to focus on, and her being more careful about it. What does it mean? Us more careful about what we put into our fucking waters and shit, and what we take into our bodies. And okay, that's what you want to. I mean, to back up your whatever political things you have that go against this.
No, yeah, I'm just not for people not really being clear and precise about what they're trying to articulate. At the same time, using kids as props to evoke an emotional response. I wouldn't do that. I hate it when Republicans do it. I hate it when Christians do it. I hate it when anybody does. It's not.
But you're kind
of
doing it in a sense when you're demonizing her and putting her up on a pedestal as this. Look at this girl. Like you're kind of doing the same thing, but in a different way too. That's how I see it.
Well, that's.
And you're willing to even say that because she's retarded, she shouldn't.
I didn't say she was retarded.
We're just trying to bring awareness.
Kind of what you're implying, though, but like you even went to that extent. So I mean, you're kind of using her as a tool too, in a sense.
I'm using her as a tool, and all these other kids that willingly got up on a stage and spouted their ideology, and it's my fault for pointing out they shouldn't be there.
I didn't say it was your fault. I'm talking about that one girl.
Well, it's sort of the same thing like us when they had us out on the streets witnessing and doing all the same thing. I mean, it's like, now when I think back on it, I'm like, dude, what a moron was I? How big of an idiot was I?
And I agree with that. I agree. Whenever you throw kids in the front, it's like putting kids on the front line of battle. It's like, what are you going to you're only going to look bad if you take a shot at the child. That's what's wrong about this, is because you're not ethically allowed to criticize or verbally attack or, a child. That's why this is intellectually dishonest, to take a child and put them at the forefront of your movement and have them say all these things and then yet not offer anything intelligible, but just evoking of emotions. That's wrong.
Because they don't want to listen to it. They want to listen to it, so-called, you would say, intelligence, because they've already been there before, already. They've already been there before. Maybe it's a desperate ploy. But you can't say
I will
they
argue
haven't
that Al Gore did this same. No, this is an old tactic. This is an old ploy. You can go back to the '60s when people were making these emotional invulsion arguments.
I'm not talking about Al Gore.
Well, you can go back to the '60s. You can go back further. It doesn't matter what you say because the emotional.
You're saying why don't they use a scientist? They have. Why don't they use this person? That kind of person? They have. They have, Rudy. So it's not like they're going to first thing start off. These Christian people start off and use kids. I mean, these people that they it's part of their tactics. They tried all these other people, and now you say, they try. Even if they are doing that, they've tried way other methods before they tried that.
I don't know.
No one fucking listens.
Yeah, you don't make sense.
No one fucking listens.
Well, this is a good.
I think perfect sense.
This went down the rabbit hole kind of deep, I think.
Really deep.
But I think
it's a good show then.
I think we got to pick this up because it's almost 9 o'clock and I got to get Junior home. But
yeah,
it was good talking to you, man. I gotta send him to school and tell all his friends that the world's gonna end.
I don't know.
He's Generation Z, man. Why even go to school then? If this is the last generation, why do they need any education? Fuck it, he can stay home tomorrow. Fuck it.
Fuck it. You know what? We're saying.
I don't know how I'm gonna edit this, but whatever.
Oh well, we'll just leave it up there.
Edit it. You need to put the whole thing out there. Fuck it.
Baggy. But all right, man. Well,
leave the cuss words in there. It's got to be okay. His ears won't get on fire.
His ears won't get on fire.
What does it have to do with? I would have him debate you, but then again, I don't want to make you cry.
Why have him debate me? You have a
well, then one thing though, because you don't know how to have an intelligent conversation. You just like.
Hey, you can't deny this conversation has been different from other ones.
No, this was good.
It was good, but you still don't know how to stop and slow down and articulate your point.
Dude, this is slow as you're gonna fucking get. You better be happy.
All right.
Because I'm sorry, I can try to let you speak, but I mean, I think you just don't like what I'm saying. You try to just mischaracterize me. That's one thing I don't like about.
I would ask you how I'm mischaracterizing, but you'll probably just mischaracterizing exactly what I said in the first place.
Okay.
So.
Well, we'll have to pick up there. We'll have to pick up there next time, man, for sure.
All right, I'm out of here.
All right, Angel.
Yeah, for real. Remember, and I'm gonna go smoke smoke some weed.
Nice. All right, brother. Well, have a good night.
Fuck you.
You've been listening to the TAP.
Peace.